UIF of which, from what I understood at the time I read the rules, pays for up to 12 months of unemployment. So I would have kept my apartment all the way up until my lease ended while I looked for a job. The purpose of the UIF is to basically keep you financially aloft to a certain extent when you are out of work for a season. You can also claim from UIF when you are pregnant and your company does not pay 100% benefits for medical, so 100% when you are on maternity leave. Like if they only pay you a percentage of your salary, you can get the rest of it from UIF. That's what UIF is there for. Now, you would agree that if you pay premiums to an insurance company and when then it's time to claim and they say no, unfoundedly, that company is basically committing a crime, right? They are defrauding you type establishment thing. Yeah, no, MTN, look, I can't say that the UIF defrauded me. They didn't. The UIF did not defraud me. The UIF simply refused to pay me my benefits because MTN said on one form, the UIF forms of which you can't just fill it out yourself. You can fill it out, but they have to verify against the company that you used to work for. Based on your employee number and your tax number and whatnot, they confirm the information on the form. When you apply for UIF, I went to Randburg and applied for UIF so I could pay my rent. And I got declined. When I asked them why, they were like, ma'am, you can't claim UIF when you resign. I was like, what do you mean resign? I'm standing here in front of you with a notice of dismissal. I was fired. Yeah, I resigned according to the UIF because MTN sent them a code that was for resignation instead of for dismissal. And however, to Investec, they said that I was fired because Investec nullifies my policy altogether, my shares altogether, if at all. It's a rule under staff benefits that if at all an employee is fired, it doesn't matter how long they worked for the company, they lose all their shares. So they told Investec I was fired, and then in order for me to lose my shares, those shares of which would have kept me buoyant for at least 2 years. At least 2 years. If I was unemployed for 2 years, I would have maintained an apartment, a lifestyle that made sense, kept on servicing my vehicle, all that jazz. I could have even started a business. Yeah, they refused to give me my shares. They also, on UIF, refused to at least give me stipendiana, that at least I can pay my rent and buy some food. I won't be living the luxurious lifestyle because UIF is but a fraction of your salary. I wouldn't have been able to have the lifestyle that I used to have, but I would have at least been maintained. Nah, they forced me back to my mom's house. That is basically a body of individuals making a decision that they don't care what the law says. They don't care what the law says. They don't care what South Africa has to say in the statute. So if your nation's legislation covers you and you're peachy and you're good, but men on the ground don't care to honor the law, that's when God is like, I'm sorry, you are overheating without an ice pack. Black people did that. The black government did that. South African corruption did that. It got people fired from jobs without rights to recourse, and made sure that they can't even win cases at the CCMA. Because of having lost my case at the CCMA, now everybody looks at me like I stank. Literally nobody. I've been blacklisted from the South African economy altogether. Situations were awry for so long that eventually, ultimately, after not being able to pay my debts off, then I was also now on the credit bureau. Thanks to being on the credit bureau, I now am also being shut out from employment altogether. That's what's good, by people who are still taking a credit check to keep a person out of employment. I lost a job. I lost so many job applications because my credit check, recently I lost one. I applied for it on some website that I got rerouted from PNet, and I was excited. I wrote a psychometric test and everything, but then they turned me down because of a credit check. That should not be happening. Because it was not it was not the financial services industry. It was it was FMC. It was retail and FMCG wholesale. Yeah, so they have no business writing me off as a South African citizen who is looking for employment under the constitution of the country, saying that I have a right to make a living. They had no right to basically turn me away because of my credit check. Because like I said, they are not. It was not a financial services industry job. It wasn't, guys. I have endured those barriers to entry for years, and now 10 years down the line I'm unemployed. So here's a system that started out working out for me. It got me employed, it got me a job, it got me set up. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I was now flying, soaring. I was a previously disadvantaged youth. I was black, I was female, and I was successful. The system worked. Essentially, BEE and affirmative action worked. It empowered me, and then one day, carpets were ripped from underneath my feet, not because BEE was no longer in operation, or not because the laws of the country changed, but because men were evil. Because black men were evil. Because black people and their sabotage, and their witchcraft, and their lies, and their racketeering, their money laundering, their unsavory business practices, their complete disregard of documentation. Like, how do you ignore a dismissal letter when a person is saying I got unfairly dismissed? The CCMA, I lost the case over there because they said, listen to this, the CCMA said that I resigned, and that's why they did not give me any damages at MTN. They tried to get me to take 3 months salary, but I was like, no, this here is gross misconduct. I am owed a minimum of 12 months salary and at most 24 months, and even then I can still sue under a civil suit for millions. But I was only just trying to get my name cleared. I was not going to sue MTN. That's what's good. I just wanted to get my name cleared so that I could apply for jobs out there without that stain on my person. Yeah, no. The CCMA, because I refused to take the 3-month payout and I fought, basically I didn't take the settlement. They went from trying to pay me 3 months, and that's in the recordings, the recording of which are stashed in my chest of drawers at my uncle's garage. We can play it again. It's a CD that we can listen to from start to end, a 2-hour meeting that you can hear the buses Gandhi Square just going in the background. And in there they first tried to offer me 3 months. I said no, following which they then concluded that I resigned. How do you offer somebody 3 months and then claim that Lomut Lona did not even have right to come here at the CCMA because she quit her job? MTN, of which also kept me at home for months before they fired me. Something that should not happen according, again, to the Labor Relations Act. When you suspend a person pending a disciplinary hearing, you should call them within a week, 2 weeks, month at tops. You can't just keep them twisting in the wind, just laboring. And they kept me at home for months, and then by November, that's when I got fired once and for all. December, that's when I was walking up and down the streets of Johannesburg, lodging my case at the CCMA, and I lost it. I lost it, despite being completely innocent. And the details, look, my case is long. You would have to listen to more of my story. It's laborious. And then for the next 10 years, I would be unemployed. So, I mean, when a white person is looking at the black economic empowerment of Karabo following the poverty of Karabo, and then the ANC using her poverty as a reason why we cannot yet lift BEE laws, what the heck? Of course, they're going to group. Of course, they're going to be hostile. Of course, they are going to separate themselves. Of course, they are going to divide. Of course, they are going to look at them as them and everybody else as they're going to look at themselves as us and everybody else as them. They're going to be passive aggressive. Why would white people in South Africa not be passive aggressive when you're maintaining BEE laws after disempowering previously empowered blacks? It's still raining out in these streets, but however, sunshine. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. So I'll just to capitalize on the remaining daylight hours, I'll just pop my head out like that, because I can't go outside. I can like literally tell it's still drizzling, so it's going to be very frustrating to me. There we go. Yeah, that angle is a lot better. Yes, guys, that's what happened to Cranberry Cam, to Kurazi. I'm sorry, my car's dirty. Why would you wash your car when it's just out here chilling, like still making like a flower and blooming? Mogarajing. It's not going anywhere, so that was the point. So anyway, that's what's good. Yeah, you guys. Hey, Cran Cat, how you doing back there? Are you feeling better, Cran Cat? About the fact that you're chilling on my carpet, my very dirty carpet that I had to roll up because I could not wash it. I could not get anything shampooed, nothing, because it's one of my items of furniture that can't move into a house and every so often be shampooed because my life sucks. And you and your yellow eyes that are now green and whatnot, because my phone like bites and chews. And you're chilling also on top of a shoe that I can't wear. Just basically a living environment in the back of a car. Cause Cran K can't afford storage for her stuff. Anyway, whatever. Setapuele is there, it wasn't the boot, but it's there now. because somebody tried to help me boost my car. It's not boostable. I need a new battery altogether. Anyway, whatever. I spoke about yes, I don't get donations. That's what I lost my train of thought concerning. And like I'll get like one person in a year, and largely it's Americans. So a dollar rand exchange rate for the past couple of years, only way that I track it, only time that I feel it necessary to check it, is if somebody gives me $1 donation. And the last donation, the first donation that I got, the dollar rand exchange rate at that time was chilling on like 15.6 to 16%. And then the last time, and then the next one that I got, in total I've gotten like about 3. The guy from America that I used to date, that is rubbish. Around his time, it was about 15 rand to the dollar. That was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And then a year ago, I got another dollar donation, and that conversion rate, I felt blessed by it because it had moved up to 16 rands per dollar. To 16 rand per dollar. I felt blessed. I mean, even though my country's currency is actually making like a sliding scale at value of the waves at Sun City and going down, 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 a shoot, I don't care because I'm actually gaining dollars. Like what? I don't have money, right? That's what's good. Yeah, anyway, that's what's good. It was, that time it was 16 rands and 16 rands per dollar. Interruption, yes, like it. Too much interruption, too much distraction. So I walked and I left my cat in there. It'll be fine because it's cool now. It was 16 rand a dollar. And then recently I got enabled by yet another American, and it's 17 point something per dollar in just 2 years, 2.5 years. It's fallen down 2 points. There. It keeps getting worse and worse, and yet BRICS thinks it's somehow going to get anywhere. Do you know why the dollar rand exchange rate is plunging so horrifically? It's because of South Africa's evil, its wickedness, its hatred of Israel, and its ambivalence against the US, and its attempt through BRICS to bring down what do you call this? The United States, the strength of the United States currency, the dollar, the strength of the dollar, essentially. Yeah, now the dollar rand exchange rate is sitting on like 17 point something rands, and so the conversion really helps me. It really helps me because I'm gonna get a lot more out of that $100, but because of the fact that I'm suffering, I'm proud of that. I'm happy because I mean really, like I said, dollar rand exchange rate, I'm benefited by South Africa's crazy plunge because South Africa has backed me out. But as a historical patriot, a person that used to love her country, as somebody that used to look upon her nation with favor, it is a travesty that the dollar rand exchange rate today, as at the 14th of December, is sitting at 17 to 18. It's going on 18 rands now per dollar. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why are we falling apart like this? It is precisely because of this thing that I'm talking about right now. You are overheating with no ice packs. South Africa, you are done for. Your country is being finished off. The things that I'm saying, those are just the calculating of statistics to show you what happens when you disenfranchise people that you can't afford to disenfranchise. I am one of South Africa's gems. I'm born and bred in this country, and I'm glorious. Not only am I a beautiful woman, I am exceptionally gifted. I'm intelligent. I am a blessing to South African universities. I am a blessing to South African corporates. I am a blessing to South African arts and culture. I am essentially a homegrown darling. And this nation spat on me, fueled by nothing but envy. And this envy was proliferated by my own people, blacks. Black people did this to South Africa. And so, of course, there is going to be a passive aggression on the part of white people that are upset because in 1994, 5, 6, 7, in 2000, I can sit back and let you BEE the living daylights out of the country. But you got Karabo fired from gainful employment and refused to let her work again. And you are still expecting me, as Pete, as Jan, as Thomas, to sit back and let you feel entitled to grabbing a piece of my pie when those people on the ground that you were supposed to empower, you are actively ripping them out of corporate South Africa. You are actively ripping them out of the business spectrum. Literally, witchcraft in this country has contributed to the loss of economic empowerment of more black people than any single epidemic. People are just stealing, like proper black people are out here doing freaking wealth transfers all over the show. This ancestral worship idolatry of yours, whereas initially you started out with what do you call this? Not Christian. Well, you know how I said earlier that ANC was started in a church, and now you are using witchcraft to impoverish blacks. It is a travesty that I'm sitting where I'm sitting right now without an ability to eat bread, make a decent living. I have been shadow banned violently on YouTube. Nobody is watching me. And then when black people are done stealing people's wealth, they stand back and watch them die. They attend their freaking funerals. They do spells on people. And then when they perish, when they literally, the suicide, South Africa has got the second highest suicide rate on earth, as at the last time I checked. Second to no one but Russia. And that was even in the climate of the war in the Ukraine. That was even in the climate of the war that broke out in Israel. Second highest suicide rate. Why? When you are living in a country so fueled with demonic worship and people are just grabbing perfectly viable citizens and throwing them out on a limb, forcing women to marry men that they don't want to marry, bring back lost lover, you are creating a junkie out of a state. And the chaos, the circus, is literally, I kid you not, concentrated in the black community. It is concentrated in the black community, but you see, that would not matter if we were living in a country like Norway, if we were living in a country that is made up of a majority whites, and the destruction therefore that is caused by the negligible percentage of black people on the ground is manageable. But when it is the majority demographic in a country doing that to each other, when a country is made up of mostly black people and they do that to each other, we are looking at a failed state. We are looking at a destroyed country. We are looking at those in it that are the minority in terms of numbers suffocating. And so blacks in this country, black people in this country are literally suffocating Mahoa, they're suffocating whites, they're suffocating Indians, they're suffocating colors. Because of that, because of how they are suffocating the remaining demographics in the country, there is a hostility, and a feverish one at that, in all the other races against blacks. I spoke about that. They are holding back and they will do nothing to aid the cause of black people along. So those of us that are victims of this crazy, those black people that are victims of this crazy, we are being looked at like proper white people in this country are just like, I'm sorry, I will have nothing to do with it. Why would they feel an incentive to help me along? Because my people are destroying the country. They're going to help me, I'm going to be set up, and then they're going to feel embedded for helping me, because tomorrow somebody that looks like me is going to afflict them. Somebody that looks like me is going to feel entitled to the piece of their land. So that pastor from Rivers, I got where he was coming from. He was like, you are not just going to come and take my land. The same Julius Malema, of which speaking about taking white man's land by force, land capture, land re-grab, whatever you want to call it, goes to another church, and some other white man that is a sycophant is out here proliferating his agenda, despite him being a terrible communist with oppressive ideologies that are nonetheless misunderstood by black people, and hence why anybody can follow Julius Malema around. Yeah, you are trying to take away wealth from people who perhaps maybe they would be prepared to give you 12% of their pie in 1997, 12% of their pie in 2000. But now that you feel entitled to 58% of it, and on top of that, you keep on disempowering those that you empowered before, claiming that after you've empowered enough black people, you'll let go of BEE. They're going to look at you on some, I'm sorry, at this rate, you're going to pillage me all the way to the end. You're going to loot me until I'm finished. So it caused a stirring inside the other demographics of this country to basically ostracize the living daylights out of blacks. They kept white money in white money. They invested in white wealth. They strengthened themselves. There is a very strong Jewish wealth in this country, especially in Cape Town. I recently came to learn that Cape Town, black people, it is blacks. Black people want to drive out the Jews the Jews in Cape Town and take them back to Israel. That's black sentiment. It's not nobody else's. It's black sentiment. South Africa is anti-Semitic, but it's not. Black South Africa is anti-Semitic. Naledi Pandemonium and her pro-Palestinian stance, with a cursing of Israel in every waking moment, And the court case that they took to the ICC that now makes sure that Netanyahu, when he goes to certain parts of the earth, he's going to get arrested. Yeah, South Africa did that. And God said that if you curse Israel, you curse your own land. That's what's going on. And the black communities of this country, not all, of course, those who are Christian know better. But there is literally a strong anti-Semitic sentiment in black people in this country in a way that does not quite exist. In a way that doesn't quite exist inside white folk, colored folk, and potentially even Islamic folk, Muslims in this country. We don't have an extreme Islamist sentiment in South Africa. Muslims in this country are not extremists, is what I'm getting at. So their sentiment towards what's going on in Israel, I can't really tell you right now, but there definitely is a sect of this land that is pro-Israel. But what is being resonated by news media, what is being communicated by our by social media, is that South Africa hates Israel. So, I mean, really and truly, when you not only hate Israel, but you're also going to embark on missions to ascertain that its prime minister is out here facing arrest every day, like the moment he sets foot on another country soil. When you make out of Netanyahu the same thing that Putin is, I do apologize, I'm sorry, your whole country is going to fall apart. Your whole country is going to fall apart. So there is hostility in this country on the part of other races against blacks. And I get it, because I have been mutineered by my own people, and everybody else has stood back and done nothing. But you see, the complacency of everybody else that has stood back and done nothing is without explanation. They are without excuse, because at the end of the day, it is the soul that sins that shall die. So all the other people in this country that could have helped me, that chose not to help me because my own people have left me out on a limb, are ignoring their civic duty to God. They're ignoring their Christianity because they call themselves Christians. They are under Christian Judeo principles. They live in a country that calls themselves Christian. They go to church on Sundays. So being a saint, they were supposed to have my back. Being a country that claims to be Christian, South Africans were supposed to have my back. They were supposed to disregard the indiscretion of my countrymen, not my countrymen, sorry, but of my fellow black people. But they did not ignore it because they chose their racist biases and their irritation with the insanity of black indiscretion above what was rational and reasonable. So I am essentially dying because my people have destroyed the country. I'm dying because black people are just being typical. I am dying because black people, black mothers leave their kids out on a limb. They throw people to death. Like, yeah, so bad is the situation that I am in, that the Lord showed me that there are men who are waiting to purchase me on auction. Just the same way that my furniture back in the day was facing auctioning because I could not pay storage. I once went to one of these auctions and I saw a garage full of furniture, and it looked like really good furniture, literally being sold for 6,500 rand to some woman. I was like, this is going to happen to me if I don't pay my storage fee. Eventually my mother salvaged my furniture and now it's chilling in a garage at my uncle's house. But guess how that furniture, from what the Lord has shown me, is going to be moved from my uncle's garage? Jumble sale. The Lord showed me that furniture is as good as retro. I once got a dream of my refrigerator, which is quite new age, it's modern. Looking like, you know, those cute refrigerators from the 70s that are like pink, neon pink, green, lime, whatnot. You know, those cute old school refrigerators? Even though my fridge is very new school, it looked like that. He showed me a dream where all my furniture was pretty much retro, essentially old. And I was like, what do you mean, God? I mean, if I move out of my mom's house, I'm definitely going to use my furniture again, coupled with the fact that it's largely new. And on top of that, I don't have money to be out buying a new haul of furniture. The Lord showed me that my furniture is presently retro, it's old, and that it's going to disappear from the garage at my uncle's house in Naturina. Not by me collecting it, but by a jumble sale. Initially, I thought that garage or jumble sale was because I got taken in the rapture. But from what the Lord is showing me, it's because I leave the country. And I tell them, do what you want with that furniture. You can distribute it among yourselves if you want. If not, you can sell it. And from what I saw in my dream, my uncle literally sold Ifenishayam in a jumble sale to make a profit for himself. Because I was no longer in the country and I therefore had no need for it. I'm leaving South Africa, like it or not. The reason why that is the case is because God is judging you by taking your gems away, following which He is going to destroy this country. The black government has decimated this nation and has refused to repent. Everybody else has also refused to repent, but they have rather held on to their bitternesses, their hostilities, and have said that you're on your own. And so everybody's going to suffocate under the complacent spirit, under sitting around doing nothing, basically just letting stuff get to this point, including white people. They're going to get judged because of complacency. Indians, complacency. Colors, complacency. And blacks, mutinous. They will have destroyed the country and everybody will have sat back and done nothing. And like I said, black people, you are held hostage to the ANC, and there is no way under heaven the next presidential election you are going to vote anyone other than the leader of the ANC at the time. It's going to happen like clockwork. You're going to keep doing that because you're handed over. You will perpetually refuse to listen to far better politicians than the ones that you keep on listening to. And the only thing that is keeping you listening to these these lackluster ANC politicians is because they're black, for no other reason. Literally, there is neither Jew nor Gentile, but all are one in Christ according to the Lord. But you are choosing who you vote for every single national election based on race. You are choosing your presidents based on race. If the US chose its leadership in this last election based on diversity, equity, and inclusion, if America had made a diversity, equity, and inclusion decision at the ballots, the world would be done for, because we'd be out here gawking at the leader of the free world being some crazy lady. Kamala Harris is not about her being a non-white. It's about her being crazy. That basically makes sure that Americans don't vote for her. It was her crazy policies. It was her adoration of baby homicide. It was her adoration of all different kinds of debauchery, immorality. It was her adoration of the proliferation of wicked celebrities in the climate of a Diddy case. For crying out loud, in the climate of that Diddy indictment, she ought to be bringing J-Lo. She ought to be bringing Beyonce. She ought to be bringing basically celebrities that everybody's now looking at on some, are you part of the Diddy crew? Are you part of the Diddy crew? Are you part of the Diddy crew? Everybody's looking at around the celebrities as are you part of the Diddy crew? And Kamala is actually using celebrities who are presently being brought into question to help her along in her election campaign. Americans snapped out of it. They woke up and they were like, I'm sorry. Beyonce's gonna get dragged through the mud because of this Diddy thing. Jay-Z's, if anything, recently Jay-Z had a cape of rape against a 13-year-old kid with Diddy that came up out of the works recently. And yet, if at all you had voted for Kamala, you would have been voting for somebody whose wife, you have been voting for somebody who one of her election supporters, endorsers, was a celebrity whose husband had raped a 13-year-old child. Proper. There's like, look, I can't say that the sins of Jay-Z are the sins of Beyonce, but these days you are guilty by association. Plus, Beyonce, whether or not, look, I don't believe Beyonce would ever be involved in anything like that, because I don't believe that Beyonce would ever be content with the prospect of enabling the rape of a 13-year-old child. But the entertainment industry is wicked, and they all know what they have to do in order to get ahead. Bad Zeba. And so, as a politician, you do best to keep your grubby paws, or your paws out from the grubby jar of celebrity junk. Let the entertainment industry and all those who play tambourines stay distant from politics, because the moment you mix it together, you mix the debauchery of entertainment with important matters like national policy. If the US had made a decision to vote based on diversity, equity, and inclusion, everybody would have been subjugated to the tyranny of that crazy lady in the White House. Not because she's black or whatever she is. I don't know what race Kamala is. You know how Obama tried to make it about her being black or whatever. It wasn't about being black. It was about the fact that she was just crazy. And in South Africa, nobody refuses to drop the ANC just because they're crazy. They are holding on to them for no other reason but they're black. They're black. They're black. They just won't let go of the black president. And so for those reasons, the whole country is crashing and the whole country is burning. People want to loot me. They think I literally had a dream of some filthy little licentious baboon out here rubbing his hands together like he's getting prepared to eat dinner, saying that she's gonna be my baby mama. He is some pastor in this country that is not married, and he said that he wants me to be, no, not his wife, but his baby mama, just like Dietrich Haddon. You know how that dude in the US from Preachers of LA after be having a child out of wedlock after divorcing some other woman? Yeah, but and yet still being respected as a preacher. He was like Dietrich Haddon, wanting to have me as his baby mama because they're looking at my content, my channel, gathering dust, tumbleweed rolling around in it, nobody listening to my content, and they think that because nobody's watching, it's only a matter of time before I get auctioned. And so they are going to basically bid for me, and one of the people that are trying to bid for me, I am an impounded vehicle at some kind of 16 holding joint for cars, is a man that is a professing Christian, an actual pastor of a church, that literally wants me as a baby mama and nothing but a baby mama. People are trying to loot me. I keep on also getting dreams about this incestuous cousin of mine keeps on going back to the drawing board again with his witchcraft. I don't know what is up with him and his incest. Another one, a cousin of mine, priding himself in being able to shop and swipe her credit cards and everything in front of me while I can do nothing but follow her around as she shops while I observe. South Africans priding themselves in having disenfranchised an exceptionally gifted woman. God then, in the midst of all of these satanic dreams, I then get one where I saw a brick pulverized. A brick pulverized. Did you hear me? A brick pulverized. God was showing me the pulverization. To pulverize is to convert something, brick, essentially mortar, into powder. He was showing me that bricks, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now I believe Ethiopia, Iran, and what's that other one? Maybe the UAE. That consolidation of nations that are trying to undermine the dollar, trying to divorce themselves even from using the petrodollar. You know how they want to divorce themselves from the dollar and therefore weaken the dollar as the global reserve currency. I had a dream of BRICS being one of the bodies trying to neutralize the power or the impetus of the dollar and therefore the United States of America. I had a dream of a brick getting pulverized. Look, eventually the United States is going to fall and the reserve currency that it is will no longer be a thing, because the beast system must necessarily, in order for the beast system to happen, necessarily the US must fall, but not yet. From what the Lord showed me, that's not yet happening. I had a dream of a pulverizing brick, like the brick was just chilling there on the table and then it suddenly got pulverized, became powder. The Lord showed me essentially maybe the tantamount, likely the equivalent, like if a brick is pulverizing, it's probably just the complete destruction of bricks, like as in that coalition of nations that are trying to come up against the dollar, just dying, all of it, not succeeding to do what it wants to do. The Lord is going to significantly weaken bricks because of Donald Trump. It got pulverized. So it makes sense why the dollar is now sitting at 17 point whatever percent, getting a dollar to the euro, not to euro, to the rand. Why just after Donald Trump takes office does the dollar rand exchange plunge so much? Because South Africa is literally trying to divorce itself from the US, and the US is not going to basically watch the undermining of its currency and it lose its sovereignty and its strength on earth without slapping you as a country with sanctions, without slapping you as a country with taxes, duty, whatever. They still want to trade with the US, and yet they want to undermine the currency that is the dollar, or the country even that is the US of A, despite how much they need the USA, and vice versa. Donald Trump made it clear the other day that you don't get to try to undermine me and my country, okay, and not have me pull away from you. So it can account even for why the dollar it dropped even 1 point, why it's now more expensive to buy dollars as a South African. There are better dollar rand exchange or currency dollar exchange rates in the world in other parts of Africa, even in African nations that are weaker than South Africa. So it just says that this country is on its way out. It's starting to drizzle again on me, so I'm going to go inside the house. But this conversation is basically over now. What I'm trying to get at South Africa is that you're done for. It's raining too much. It is raining too much, but there's definitely no more light inside there. You are not going to make it. Like the Lord showed me the absolute destruction of this country, and it is going to start with you losing everything and everyone. I then got a dream of Elon Musk. Oh, this rain. Out here opening taps in South Africa. Like he rocked up on my mom's property and started to shout. You know how there's construction work going on the yard? he started to shout at my mom and at construction workers that are doing the work, and opening the tap. He opened it, the tap outside, and was like, why have you left this closed? Why have you left this closed? And besides, what is with this shoddy work? What is with this bad workmanship on this building, etc.? Look, I'm being rained on. Oh, goodness gracious. The sooner I get to my car, the better. He was like, why have you just left things like this? And because, and with him shouting like this, everybody was scared. They were scared of him like he was running the show all along. It's like they didn't expect him to suddenly rock up out of nowhere like Elon Musk on this yard, in this like quaint little house in Vilgehevel. Like, what is going on proper? And he was shouting at everybody for poor workmanship and started opening taps everywhere. A tap in American terminology would be a faucet. He started opening a tap, and everybody was freaking out and scared, and that's how the dream ended. I then asked the Lord, what does that mean? And even then, why Elon Musk? Oh, rain. Okay, I have to finish this inside because it's just raining cats and dogs. Out. It's raining cats and dogs. Whew, I am hot. Feeling hot. Despite it raining outside. And I did not bring my thingamabob. My water bottle, I don't prefer not to use this. I don't prefer to use this. Sorry, rather. Yes. The dream of Elon Musk. I dreamt about Elon Musk doing that thing that I just explained to you outside. And when I woke up, I was like, God, what does that even mean? Why would Elon Musk be out here breaking stuff apart, what a fish paste? And not breaking, but he was opening taps like all over the show, yelling at my mom, yelling at the construction workers. You know how there's construction work here at home, and the construction workers are still here, as you can hear from outside. And he was yelling at them on some, this is poor workmanship, and why have you closed all these taps? Open the taps. People can't drink water. I wake up and I'm like, God, explain. And the Lord is basically like, Elon Musk represents gifted South Africans that get snatched, moved to other countries, that when they arrive abroad and are now made prolific, succeed, get what it is that they needed to get that they could not get in South Africa, they then dedicate their lives to explaining why they left South Africa. They then dedicate their lives to explaining what were the inefficiencies, why it is that they could not stick around. I told you that the Lord is going to take grapes, like grab, take away your best people in this country. I said it over and over and over again. And in my dream, the Lord used one of the baddest South Africans in the game to ever leave, Elon Musk. And he rocked up and was yelling at construction workers, telling them, open taps, why have you closed them? The Bible, it is written that if anybody gives a glass of water to any of the least of my disciples, they will not lose their reward. Essentially, Elon Musk was opening taps that they had shut. That was representing South Africans leaving South Africa, getting to where it is that they get, America in this particular instance, and then making it their prerogative or their mission to explain to the world through YouTube or whatever is their strength that I left South Africa because of ABC. And one of the things that they will complain about is the fact that doors just kept on getting closed on people. One of Elon Musk's complaints was, why is this tap shut? A tap is a faucet, bumper, that which water comes out of. And he was lamenting that you have parched the country. Instead of opening opportunities, you have closed them. You will remember Elon Musk tried to give Starlink to South Africa and they rejected it. Starlink, of which the very thing that I was lamenting about earlier, rural areas that don't have telecommunications poles and so can't have access to Wi-Fi and so can't therefore have access to the internet and therefore opportunities to eradicate unemployment in the country. One of the ways to eradicate unemployment in any nation is to allow for online forms of making money. We are dealing now with the global commerce, e-commerce, right? Our commercial landscapes are no longer restricted to our countries, thanks to globalization and international trade and all that jazz. So people can now live in South Africa and literally earn a salary that is in pounds or dollars, because they either are selling t-shirts on Etsy or books on Amazon, or they've got a YouTube channel that's monetized, earning dollars, converting to rands. Basically, there are ways that youth and anybody else, really, because I'm no longer young, there are ways that people can make money if at all the country cannot avail employment opportunities. If at all there are barriers to entry, or if at all when you call for a job interview you don't succeed, you can always thrive on YouTube, or like I said, sell t-shirts on Etsy. You can write an ebook. You get my point. So that money, when you do write that ebook, when you make a sale, you might make that sale in dollars, and so therefore enrich the American economy. I apologize. That sale is in dollars, and so therefore you will enrich the American economy. But when you when you collect your salary, that money that is now your revenue, you're gonna go to Pick n Pay and buy groceries. You're gonna go to Woolies and buy dessert. You're gonna go to Checkers and purchase a microwave or Dion. You are going to pay for your children's school fees in South Africa. You are going to maybe invest in a South African company, buying their shares with money you made from the US. Essentially, internet access can eradicate unemployment in a country. Where it is that there are barriers to entry in a country and people can't get employment because of a lack of skills, maybe even lack of matric, lack of resources, or lack of geographical access. So living remotely in funny, strange places, making it hard for you to go for a job interview, or for you to successfully interview and be reliably able to live in that place because you are too far away from work. When you have internet access, you can make money at home. It literally avails opportunities to people in rural areas. Elon Musk wanted to make a deal with the South African government to bring Starlink in our skies, put a satellite there, ping it down, and award Wi-Fi maybe potentially to unreached areas. It's so loud, goodness, because of the rain, but anyway, avail Wi-Fi to areas that the South African government, with how much it is dragging its feet to build electrical infrastructure, road infrastructure, plumbing infrastructure. How much worse then is things like fiber to the home not a priority? Wi-Fi. So if you can get Wi-Fi from a satellite in the outer space, for crying out loud, you have killed 2, 3, 4 birds with one stone. Elon Musk tried to offer South Africa Starlink as his gift to his motherland. And what happened? These baboons that you keep on voting for, called the ANC, and as corrupt as they were, tried to negotiate with Elon Musk to give them 30% of revenue from Starlink. And so Elon Musk was like, you're not gonna swindle me the way you swindle all other South Africans. So he pulled away. The South African government, black government, the ANC, is the reason why there is no Wi-Fi in the rural areas. The rural areas of which also don't have plumbing, also don't have electricity, and all that is promised them are little reservoirs for water that they have to walk to in spite of weather like this. That is your South Africa. So that it makes sense why Elon Musk was yelling in my dream on some open the taps for the people. You have closed the opportunities for people. Open them. Open them. And the construction workers were scared. They were afraid. They were shaking. Essentially, he was complaining that the country is not built properly. And he's living all the way in the US. What incentive? What incentive would a person like Elon Musk have to move back to South Africa? Never mind move back, but keep his family there. Like literally, keep his family here. He moved even his mom to the US. He took his mother out. When will Tyler ever come back home? After tasting the US? When will Trevor Noah ever come? I thought that after Daily Show, he might be, maybe work visa expires or whatever, that he might come back to South Africa, but he kept on getting opportunities, and he's still in the US. It's like they leave, and for what, me? Why would I want to go back? Why? When you have made your land uninhabitable, and those who are its patriots stop being patriots, you know that you are judged. You know that you are judged. The Lord was showing me the Elon Musk phenomenon, where it is that your baddest and brightest of resources on the ground, South Africans, are going to get taken, especially by the US. Also, the Lord showed me that the strengthening of South African presence, especially in America, is for the purpose of him moving his remnant of suffering souls there, without too much xenophobia. You will know that in Western nations, when they hear that somebody's from an African country, there is a bias and a stereotypical cultural misunderstanding that sometimes induces xenophobia. So Africans in a lot of European nations are treated like really harshly, even in the US. But the Lord said to me that in the international eye, or in the Western eye, all Africans are equal, but some Africans are more equal than others. The Lord has shown me that because of South Africa's indiscretion, and however, because of a very faithful remnant in South Africa, he shipped over, he moved, he created an exodus of highly skilled South Africans and highly beloved South Africans to the US to essentially simmer down prospective xenophobia against especially South Africans. Essentially, there is a favor in the US, from what I have seen, over not just any African, but South Africans. There is a market, there is a thirst and a hunger for South Africa's people because of men like Elon Musk, because of little ladies like Tyler, because of Trevor Noah, because of Charlize Theron, because of Doja Cat. What I'm trying to explain is that the Lord exported South African talent and made it so world class to America that it's going to be easy for South Africans that want to leave the country applying for work permits or citizenship in the US to go, because they are, from what the Lord showed me, favored above all other Africans, for no other reason than the fact that Elon Musk is their little favorite. Another man, Kim Clement, the Lord showed me that he keeps on moving South Africans that become so beneficial to the American cause that there is now a favor in the eyes of America and Americans over South Africans. You will know that Donald Trump has a very strict anti-immigration policy concerning illegal immigration. What it is that immigration, not immigration, what it is that Joe Biden is, Trump is diametrically opposed to it. So you don't just get to underdump Trump's administration dilly-dally into the US border without facing extreme comeuppance, penalty, just hardship. He is very much about maintaining the integrity of the United States of America and its borders, and illegal immigration, he has a problem with it, right? However, recently, Donald Trump had a conversation with Maposa, Cyril, and said to him, why do you want me to go and treat you better and to give you good stuff when you are trying to kill my dollar? What's your problem? What you need to give me in exchange to maintain your tariff proper, to not sanction you, especially considering you hate Israel. Not only that, you want to go and decimate my dollar and eliminate it altogether. I mean, proper Trump Archer with a Nigerian accent. Altogether, eliminate the global reserve currency that is the dollar. Me, I'm not a globalist. I'm a nationalist in the worst way. I love America. I believe in our sovereignty. And you are one of the people that is threatening it. And then you expect me not to give you taxes in just a lot of trouble. If you want to have leniency from me, give on that you belong to BRICS, South Africa. Give me your people to man our workforce so we can improve the United States workforce and our economy. But if you don't want, I'm going to tax you. And then some lady, I don't even know what her name be, from Parliament, a black lady, was like, this is just all of this racism, it's very supremacist, this rubbish of the Donald Trump. Nonsense. They always you know how Donald Trump has that policy, right? How he feels about illegal immigration, and it is for the sake of maintaining the integrity of, never mind US borders, but the US voting classes. You know how the below the belt strategy of the left was to bring in as many people from outside to beef up voting numbers for Kamala Harris, even though they're not properly documented. I don't even know how the US voting system works, but in South Africa you have to be registered to vote, and you kind of have to be a citizen. So I really don't know how you can just bring a whole bunch of people into the US and then make them vote. Maybe they give them immediate citizenship and then suddenly they have, I don't know. But Trump was all about being against that whole business, and the left was desperate to get people on their side, so they went and essentially used the strategy of bringing in foreigners, given that Americans were fed up, and they afflicted the American thing that they were doing by causing so much irritation on the ground, because these people were not only set up in housing, but they were using taxpayer money to give them things that belonged to Americans. That happened under the Biden regime or administration. Sometimes I call it regime because it feels very tyrannical. And Kamala Harris, they did strange stuff like that. It makes sense that they lost the election by a landslide. So granted how strict Trump is on immigration, right? You don't just get to hop in there like a kangaroo or on a hoverboard and just cross the border like an Iranian drone in New Jersey. You don't just get to do that. You know how now there's all these funny little drones in New Jersey and it's claimed that they come from Iran because Joe Biden is sabotaging the American airspace. And basically, if there were to be some heavy hard knock disaster happen before Trump takes office, he's gonna have to clean up that dirt, and Joe Biden is out here conveniently with all of his kibambisa or lepa or whatnot. And I'm being interrupted, like I have work to do. I just don't get in my skin and in my hair and like a tick. Just leave me alone. Anyway, yeah, this whole thing in New Jersey, why it is, I mean, the United States is this strong military, right? Why under heaven would Joe Biden, the FBI, the Pentagon or whatever not shoot down drones that are hovering over US airspace that are the size of small cars? Why? But they just keep on hovering, and recently it is speculated that they come from Iran, and these drones are being left there. Why? It's because the exiting administration is trying to sabotage Trump. If these things fall on the ground and crash, it's like, it's in suburbia, it's like urban, like town. It's in not the bush veld where you can find a crop circle, but in the inner city, and they're just hovering over there, and it's become a whole thing that is being covered on the news. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I mean, I don't know, funny stuff is happening in America. First I thought it was alien craft, but now it looks like they come from Iran. Why would you allow Iranian craft to out just hover over your airspace, just like they allowed their Chinese spy balloon? They are trying to sabotage the US, the exiting administration, the left. And remember, I told you that the Biden/Kamala administration is going to not go out without a fight. I did a video like that they're going to do some strange below the belt stuff, but it's going to be so ridiculous and so below the belt that the whole world is going to look at it wagging their heads on some they are so desperate, these ones. They are so desperate. They are so desperate. Yeah, and it is going to be the very thing that's going to cause the victory of the church across the world. And of course, the success of the Trump administration. The success of the Trump administration, of which is aimed at setting up the world to be nice and ripe and ready to leave in the rapture. Because Trump is going to be pivotal or instrumental in creating out of Israel a land of unwalled villages, so that Ezekiel 38 and 39 can ultimately be feasible. So Iran is just kicking the last kicks of a dying horse, and it appears the Biden administration is letting them do it some dude out here wearing chapstick on an interview, here, holding this and holding that, letting stuff be. This level of crazy is in order to try and keep Trump out of office. And I told you guys, not just Trump, but to make his administration have a real hard time doing what it is that it needs to do. Weird, strange stuff that's going on. Right now, they ask what is going on in New Jersey, and the guy's like, I don't know. They are just drones. Just ums and arms. Like, since when is the American government unable to answer questions? Why don't you shoot them down? Do you not have the technology to shoot them down? But they're not being shot down.